I hear a lot of stories about people who get tricked into human trafficking. I remember one time I had like a roommate like in my university like apartment, and she told me about how she was working for a particular woman one time. Like she was working for her for like a period of 3 years, and then she trusted the woman a lot, obviously, because the woman like usually helped her to like take care of her family that were in the village and whatnot. So the woman, after like 3 years, told her that she had a better opportunity for her in Dubai, and that she wanted to send her over there, and then the pay was going to be like times three of whatever it is that she was paying. My roommate was like really excited, and she decided that okay, she was going to do this. She talked about it with her family was also excited, hearing that it was from this particular woman. And then they processed her visa, her international passport and whatever, and she ended up traveling over there. And for the first like 1 week, it was like they were just getting by, cleaning and whatever. And then it got to a point whereby they seized their passports, like her, and unfortunately there were some other girls that were with her, and you could not report to the authorities because it was a thing where, like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like, it was so complicated. It's not as easy as it sounds. Like, oh, why didn't she just try to run to report to the authorities? It's not as easy as it sounds. And then like they just basically trapped her there, and she had to be sleeping with different people, men, and like it was like a really huge thing. And like she came back after 6 years. So I actually didn't know that this was actually a thing until like when she told me. I told some people too. I was like, can you imagine that this thing happened? And they were like, yeah, it happens a lot. Like, and I was like, wow. So coming across this case, I was literally like, wow, like I cannot believe this. Like I feel like I've been so hidden from a lot of things that happen in this world. But like today we're going to be talking about the story of Natanalie Perez. So hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day, not just a good day. And in today's case, we're going to be talking about 19-year-old Natanalie Perez. Natanalie Perez was born on the 19th of November in 1992, and she lived with her aunt. She was still close with her mom and her siblings, and she was just living from there because she wanted to get by with school and everything. And she also loved singing. She was in the choir. She loved God a lot, so she was always going to church. Everybody saw her as a godly person. She was very talented, not just in singing, in other things, but like her major hobby was singing, and she loved her siblings and family very, very much. After she graduated high school, she decided to move out of Florida to go and pursue her career and possibly singing. But she wanted to stay near her family. So she, instead of moving to New York, she moved to Miami. So in 2012, Natanalie moved to Miami, and she also was very close with her family still. And she was always talking to them, like interacting, telling them about her day, what happened. And she had a friend also in Miami that lived quite far from her, but they were always talking on the phone. And the friend told her that there was an opening in Miami, in one of the Miami malls. There was going to be like a whole organization where they were employing singers and everything, and it was on the newspaper. So she just tried to get the details from her friend, and then she basically applied to it. And throughout this period, she told her family about it. They were excited for her, and things were just going normally as she was interacting with them. But after a while, everyone noticed that, especially her family, that she stopped posting on social media, and she stopped interacting with her family as much as she would have. And anytime she even gets to speak with her family, she would usually speak like someone was telling her what to say. So after some days, it's very obvious that her parents were now worried, her family members were worried rather, and it was just like a whole thing where they'll be talking to each other like, should we call the police, should we not? But they decided not to, because on some occasions they'll be able to reach her and speak to her, and on some they won't. So they didn't really know what to do. They just thought that maybe maybe the Miami lifestyle, because it's very busy, it's big, and she's really busy trying to become a singer, and she was now trying to cut off her family, because some people do that, but they didn't see Natty as someone that would ever do that. So they were kind of shocked. And after weeks of this thinking, like 3 weeks, they get a call from Natanalie's cousin that also lives in Miami, and said that they came across Nathalie talking to a weird group of people outside Miami Mall, and she looked like she was scared, and like she wasn't supposed to be there, and like the people that she was talking to rather, looked like they were bad influence. And immediately her family got this. They just called the police immediately and told them about what it was that they were dealing with Natanalie, and that they were going to share the audio calls that they were getting from her, and how she interacts with them. And then when they actually showed and presented these calls to the police, the recordings of their phone calls with Natanalie, it was obvious, like even the police noticed that it was weird. Like the way she was speaking and replying her family seemed like there was someone that was telling her what to say. But the police couldn't really do anything, because she's above 18 and she's living her life in Miami, and it seemed like she's fine, she's been seen, and she's basically all right. She just probably doesn't want to talk to her family, according to what the police said. But this still didn't make the family very comfortable to hear. And like Miami, kind of like LA, is known as like a very dark place that has prostitution and some other things. Like, don't get me wrong, Miami is also a very loving country, but the parents were also scared, because it seems like a lot goes on in Miami. And according to how Natanalie was acting, they felt like there was no other way except the fact that probably she has gotten herself into trouble. Anytime they could reach Natanalie, she would speak about any other thing. But anytime they tried to talk about Miami, like, how is Miami, she would literally deviate from the subject and look heated and sound heated, like she was not trying to have any conversation about Miami. After a while, there was literally no response from Natanalie. She was basically ghosting her family. I mean, before, at least they could reach them like once, twice a week, but now definitely nothing. They waited and waited for days, and mysteriously a text to her aunt was sent, and the message said, "I need help." So Natanalie sent her aunt a message saying, "I need help." And immediately her aunt got this text, she sent her 2 sons to go check up on Natanalie in Miami. Her sons get to the front of her door and start knocking, and she doesn't come to open the door for a while, but on like the 4th knock, she opened the door, and what they saw shocked them. At first, they even thought that there was someone in the house at that particular moment beating Natanalie up. They entered into the house, they searched the house, there was no one there, and just turned back to look at Natanalie and see that her hair was ripped from her head. She had some bald parts of her head, her body, she had bruises, her nails were torn off, like she just looked like she had just come back from a fight. Natanalie's cousins kept asking her what exactly happened, and Natanalie refused to speak to any of them. So instead of trying to interrogate her, they had to get back home. So they told Natanalie to follow them back home. Natanalie refused a little bit and struggled, but she eventually gave in and followed her 2 cousins home. They get back to Florida, and for some weird reason, her parents, her family just don't even want to ask what happened immediately. They just started surrounding her with love, and they just wanted her to calm down, and whenever she's ready to speak, she would speak. Natanalie went back in, rested for a bit, and came back out the next day. She slept all through the next night. And she basically was still so tired when she got up, meaning that Natanalie had not been having enough rest or sleep, basically because she was troubled by whatever it is that she was going through at the moment. That morning, when Natanalie woke up and decided to have a conversation with her family, she cried and she confessed that she was being forced into sex work. And she actually went to the interview that she saw as an article, like, on magazines or newspapers, and like people were talking about, and her friend told her about, and it was seen that she did not actually enter there in the form of being a singer. They deceived her and they basically forced her into having sex with them. And she was also explaining that she was also lured into Fanta Blue Hotel, and she would also be dressing up as a rich woman by the influential men, and she would be recorded while she was having sex and changing her dress, or she was dressing up, and it will be uploaded to a social media platform called Backpage. If you do not know what Backpage is kind of like a social media, like where you post, you can advertise yourself, what you want, camera, you're a cameraman, videographer, people can like basically pick you up there for jobs. And Backpage was also taken down not too long ago because of like, it was always seen as being used for sex trafficking and human trafficking. So it was kind of like Craigslist. She also confessed that the men made her to call her family to say that she was fine. She would have to call her family every time, like she gets like loads of missed calls to show that, oh, people actually want to know where she is. So they will make sure that she calls back and speaks to them for a very long time so that it seems like she's fine, which basically explains why people like the police and her family were saying that she was sounding like she was being forced to speak. She also confessed and explained to her family that she will be drugged and beaten if she does not comply with these particular men, and that she did not want to reveal any of their identities. Like, she didn't even really know their names because they would have code names, and that she was basically also scared that they were going to eventually hurt her family if she doesn't comply, because they would say that they knew information about her, they knew where her family lived, like she was really scared, and that's why she didn't want to speak up to her family at the time. She also said that she was not the only one. There were also other girls that were victims, like, they would beat them and they would cry. And whenever they want to go to one of these like hotels to sleep with these rich men, they would dress them up in inexpensive clothes like Gucci, Chanel, Givenchy, Prada, and like, they would walk up to the desk of the hotel and they'll be looking rich, and they would just find their way to the rooms of these men where they have to sleep with them, and then what follows suit. Immediately she finished telling the story to her family told her to go to the police to report this situation. And she said that most of the men that were involved in this were judges, cops, and influential people in the society. So there was no way she was going to do that and put herself and especially her family in danger. So after they showed Natanalie a lot of love that day and they were trying to sympathize with her, she went back to sleep, and then she woke up the next morning telling her family that she wanted to go back to Miami. And her family was like, hell no, there's no way that you are doing that. But her aunt remembered at the time that during the middle of the night when she wanted to go get water to go back to bed, she heard Natanalie on the phone call, like kind of having like a submissive argument with someone about going somewhere. Like, it was like, okay, I'll try my best to come, and then the person would say something and then she would be like, okay, I will make sure I come, like kind of like that kind of conversation. And magically the next morning she has to go to Miami. So especially the aunt, she was like, no way, you are not going anywhere. And then Natanalie was like, they might touch my body but they may not touch my soul. And she eventually carried her bags and she left to Miami. After some weeks, there was nothing that was heard from Natanalie again. And like it was just so scary, because before at least they could get her like at least once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week even at best. But this time, nothing from Natanalie again. So the aunt sent the two cousins again to go check up on Natanalie, and when they got there, they did not see Natanalie, so they went back home. Now the aunt and the family became really worried and decided to hire a private detective. And this private detective said that the last time that Natanalie was seen was at a hotel called Burke's on June 1st of 2012, and that she was no longer living in that apartment that her cousins went to anymore. So maybe meaning that if her cousins had gone there, they might have seen her. We have no idea. But that was the last time that she was seen. And the detective also tried to let her know, like Natanalie's aunt know, that if she was arrested for prostitution, it would even be a better bet, because at least she'll be able to be found in one of the prisons around Miami. They searched all the prison inmates that had been put into prison from a particular time to the time that they were looking for her, obviously, and they did not find Natanalie anywhere. And when they had no lead, all they could do was to just keep ringing her phone and messaging her on social media, hoping that, like the last time, she would just randomly show up or pick up her phone. But it was getting way too long, and Natanalie was nowhere to be found. And Anna, that's her mom, just basically said that they took her kid, and that people in the town know where she is. People know where she is, but they don't want to tell her. You know, she was getting really paranoid, and she was just basically breaking down and crying every single day since they could not find Natanalie. Then, apart from that first investigator that they hired, the family also hired a private investigator that worked with National Center for Missing and Exploited Children over years to find her and bring her awareness to the public. Natanalie would be 5'1", 130 pounds, and she basically would be 29 to 30 years old as of now if she's found, because she is nowhere to be found as of 2023. And what I just keep on thinking is, maybe like at the time when she went back home, maybe the people that were calling her back got angry that she left and deceived her into thinking that, you know, when she came back, everything will be fine, everything is going to be cool. And obviously they probably just got angry and were afraid of the fact that she was going to be telling on them or snitching on them, because she found her way back to another city. And basically, I don't even want to think of that. I hope that she's still somewhere alive, because this is just a very, very sad thing to even think about. She probably got threatened because she thought she didn't have a way out of her situation, and she definitely did, but just didn't know the way to go about it. And if Natanalie is found, hopefully, I hope she's able to explain exactly what happened. And, you know, till now, still no news, and we hope to see Natanalie soon. Thank you guys for listening to the end, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to give a like or thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video.